Folks, you better get ready because Congress is positioning their portfolios right now to make big money in the coming weeks and months. Congress has been disclosing trade after trade, and quite frankly, it looks as though they are preparing for something big. Now, as everyone knows, over the last few years, our politicians have gotten super rich, super quick in the stock market. Year after year, Congress outperforms, but in 2024, it got even more extreme, according to new reports from Unusual Whales. You had some of the most connected congressmen and women returning multiples of the S&P 500's already impressive 25% year growth. We had one returning as much as 149%, nearly 6x the market average. In fact, you go over to number 3, Senator Wyden, who is an outspoken critic of Trump for not divesting from his real estate assets, is himself one of the top performers in Congress. In stocks he actively trades in, his performance makes him number 3 out of hundreds of congressfolk, and he sits on many of the committees that oversee his stock holdings. Fact of the matter is that many Republicans and many Democrats in the Congress actively trade on a weekly basis, and many have had huge outperforming stock trades in the specific fields that they supposedly govern. In fact, some of them will actually double dip. They'll take lobbyist money from corporations, and then once they get into office, they'll invest tons and tons of money into that company's shares, which gives these politicians 2x the incentive to do these companies' biddings instead of the American people. And folks, in a world where the president himself is now issuing meme coins and making tons of money off it, well, we know that both Republicans and Democrats are now coming together, unifying, and deciding, hey, this is the time to make a ton of money. Unusual Whales found that the longer an individual is in the Congress, the higher the average returns are on any given year. Time in Congress usually means more connections, and more connections means more insider insight to get rich off of. And all of this is going to get even more extreme in 2025. So in today's video, we're going to break down the top 5 stocks Congress is buying right now as we head into February. We're going to break down each of them, why Congress might be buying them, the insights they might have, and then we're going to cap off the video with today's sponsored segment on RCAT, Red Cat Holdings Inc. This company has a strategic partnership with Palantir, just secured contracts from U.S. government agencies, and has a growing backlog of orders. We're going to explain why you may just want to start your due diligence on this idea as soon as possible, and the only thing I ask in return for all of the work that goes into making a video like this is that you hit that ravishing like button, share this with a few friends, and of course, the best prescription is always a subscription, so make sure to subscribe. And we're going to get into all of this, timestamps down below, but as always, if you're the one taking the ultimate risk, you got to be the one doing the ultimate frisk. Never get risky without thinking about your frisky, and vice versa. Okay, let's start with number 5. Congressman Thomas H. Keene Jr. just disclosed buying CP. This is Canadian Pacific Kansas City Limited. And it's already done very well for him, basically started going up right after he bought it. And now that he's disclosed it, it might go up even more as you get that congressman pump. This is a massive railroad company that has monopoly-like control over freight transportation in North America. Why might he be interested in this stock? Well, Congressman Keene is a prominent politician from New Jersey who sits on infrastructure and many transportation-related committees. So why would he be loading up on Canadian Pacific? Is he hearing something behind the scenes in closed-door meetings? Well, who knows, but let's think about this for a second. What is the bottom line here? Well, the bottom line here is you have a high-level politician with direct access to infrastructure funding plans, both public and private, that need approvals, and here he is betting on one of the dominant railroad companies in North America. CP is the only company with a coast-to-coast rail network that spans Canada, the US, and Mexico, and if he believes that those routes are about to be way more utilized because of things that he's hearing in his closed-door meetings, well, guess what? Oof, the train might be leaving the station, right? It's also true that Trump's win could supercharge the energy and manufacturing industries quite a lot, leading to way more rail transport demand. When Trump says drill, baby, drill, think of all of the resources derived from that need to be transported, right? And that's mostly going to be by train. So overall, CP, I would say at the very least, unique trade. Raises some eyebrows. Okay, number 4, Nancy Pelosi bought VST Vistra Corp. What does she know? Well, you see, Vistra is a dominant energy player operating one of the largest natural gas and nuclear power portfolios in the U.S. with a growing emphasis on grid-scale battery storage. Now, let's not forget, former Speaker Pelosi is no ordinary investor. Her trades are so strategically timed and profitable that they've become a meme in financial circles, with retail traders literally tracking her moves to replicate them. We talk about Pelosi here a lot, but if you're new to the channel, just look at some of her big wins in videos that we've talked about the last couple of of years. There's literally trade after trade after trade after trade where she brings in the big bucks. And she is also very, very talented at avoiding losses. For example, Pelosi avoided yet another big red day by dumping tons of Nvidia stock right before its worst wipeout day in history this week. Pelosi buys strategic, she buys heavy, and she buys hard. And this Vistra buy is particularly interesting given America's major policy shift towards energy independence. So what is the play here? Well, Pelosi isn't just buying any energy company here. She's going after a company positioned to win under the new administration's pro-energy policies. She may publicly say that she doesn't support these policies, but she's betting with her dollars that these policies are going to make her tons of money, right? Now, Vistra owns one of the largest nuclear energy portfolios in the U.S. With Trump's strong support for nuclear energy expansion, Pelosi's buy suggests she expects major government incentives to benefit companies like Vistra that already have established nuclear operations. If the U.S. government starts fast-tracking nuclear energy investment, Vistra will be the top beneficiary. Government subsidies and tax credits for nuclear energy expansion are on the table, and Vistra is one of the best-positioned companies to capitalize on this trend, and Congress tends to be the one that decides on who gets the contracts. Nuclear energy is indeed becoming a strategic priority as the U.S. looks to reduce reliance on foreign energy sources, and Vistra is set to benefit from this. Now look, in the past, Congress has pushed billions of dollars of funding into energy infrastructure upgrades, and oftentimes, I hate to say it, but they usually like to give it to people that donated money to them or they're invested in. And guess what? Vistra is a direct recipient of federal energy infrastructure grants. Vistra also has deep market penetration in Texas, California, which is Nancy Pelosi's home state, and other energy-consuming states, which sets it up to really, really win hard. Number 3, Congressman Rick Allen from Georgia just disclosed buying a ton of ROL, Rollins Inc. Now, Rollins Inc. on the surface is kind of a boring company. It's a pest control company. But Rollins is arguably in a prime position to secure massive government contracts in 2025 and beyond. And here's where things get really interesting. Congressman Rick Allen is from Georgia, the same state where Rollins is headquartered. And when a sitting congressman loads up on a local company, you got to pay attention, especially when that company stands to benefit big from government funding. This ROL buy could be a lot more than just a great business buy. It could be about upcoming federal contracts that simply haven't been reported yet or are still in discussions. Now, why would Rollins get government contracts? Is that even a big business for them? Well, the U.S. government spends billions every year on pest control and biosecurity measures across multiple agencies, and Rollins is in a prime position to lock in major federal and state level and even city level contracts. Of course, federal and state agencies have a lot of properties and they must maintain pest-free facilities, and they spend big on it. Usually they overspend on it. Quite frankly, the government is the best customer to have because the government doesn't care about what you're charging. The government just pays massive, massive amounts of money because they're like, well, the taxpayers gave us this. We don't care about this. And if we run out of it, we'll just print more and borrow more from China. And guess who doles the money and influences who gets the contracts? Well, of course, Congress. And when Congress is invested in these stocks, even better. So if Rollins wins even a fraction of these DoD and federal building maintenance contracts, we could be looking at hundreds of millions of dollars in new revenue. State and local governments are also big buyers. Now, why would Congressman Rick Allen know about these potential contracts, though? Well, Congressman Rick Allen sits on multiple economic and small business committees. He has direct exposure to infrastructure and military funding initiatives. And most importantly, his district in Georgia is home to some of the government's largest pest control research facilities. In other words, if Rollins is on the verge of landing massive government contracts, Allen would likely have early insight, and he might even have some influence in making sure that they do get those contracts. And the fact that he just made this a major buy in his portfolio says to me that at the very least, it's worth watching. Okay, number 2, Tuhura, ticker symbol HURA. So Congresswoman Laura Lee is a big fan of the stock. She's reported frequent trades, and we've covered this before in her past trade reports last year, and they always tend to result in big appreciations in the stock price. Tuhura is a biotech company, but it's no ordinary one. It's working on cutting-edge treatments and AI-based drug discovery platforms that put it squarely in the crosshairs of government-backed healthcare initiatives. Laura Lee, as a congresswoman, has unique access to information about legislative priorities, upcoming federal funding, and regulatory decisions in the space. The U.S. government has long been pouring billions of dollars into biotech innovation, and members of Congress frequently meet behind doors to discuss how that funding will be allocated. And when you have some of those Congress people that are meeting behind the doors deciding on those allocation decisions, also going and buying the companies that could benefit. Well, that means what? Well, that means that these stocks could be a big opportunity. And bigger picture here, if Tuhura is a candidate for federal funding, Lee may have early knowledge of these awards. Her repeated trades, in my opinion, might very well reflect that she's confident the government money is coming their way, or they're on the fast track to some sort of FDA decision that's going to work for them. Number 1, Tempest AI, TEM. So Nancy Pelosi bought aggressive calls in Tempest AI, and we've been highlighting this one since she first disclosed it, but arguably it's the one that stands out the most on this list. Tempest AI is a leader in AI-driven precision medicine, revolutionizing how healthcare diagnoses and treatments are developed. Now, what does full-time trader and part-time politician Pelosi know about Tempest AI that we don't? Well, what I can say after digging into this company is that Tempest AI isn't just any AI health company. It's directly involved in government-funded research, has deep ties to federal health agencies, and operates in a sector that is expected to receive billions of dollars in new funding under government initiatives. If you thought the story with Tuhura was crazy, this one is way more intertwined with government. And as we know, the longer somebody spends in Congress, the more likely they are to earn outsized returns in the stock market. And Pelosi's position as former Speaker of the House and a key Democratic insider for literally decades since the Kennedy era gives her potential access to closed-door meetings and classified insights that could influence this trade. Now, one of the biggest opportunities for Tempest AI is in federal health programs like Medicare and Veterans Affairs. AI-powered diagnostics and personalized medicine could save the government billions annually by improving care and reducing inefficiencies. And if the government gives them these contracts, that could take Tempest AI to the next level. Tempest is already a leader in AI-driven diagnostics, making it a natural partner for these programs. Now, you got to remember that Pelosi has deep connections to lawmakers and committees overseeing Medicare and the VA. If discussions are already underway about integrating AI into federal health programs, Pelosi would have early knowledge. Now, Tempest isn't just about diagnostics, it's also entering the drug discovery market, using AI to identify genomic markers that accelerate new drug development. Tempest could be set to receive multi-million-dollar government contracts to assist in pandemic preparedness, cancer research, and rare disease treatments. Folks, the big picture here is that Tempest could have a lot coming down the road, and that might be why she bought call options, a very aggressive call option position that expires in January of 2026. I think she did that because she believes that all of this year is going to be a huge development opportunity for this company, and perhaps when all the dust settles, this company ends up getting a lot of government help, a lot of big government contracts. But at the end of the day, who knows? Maybe she just bought it because she saw a cup and handle pattern or a head and shoulders pattern. Who knows? Anyways, folks, that caps off the top 5 stocks that Congress is buying right now. Do you think that Congress should be allowed to trade stocks? Let us know down below. Okay, now it's time for our sponsored segment on RCAT, Red Cat Holdings, Inc. This is a military drone company, and military drone demand is booming. And I'm not talking about your average toy drone here. I'm talking battle-tested, government-certified, AI-powered UAVs that are taking over modern warfare. And guess who's at the center of this? Well, Red Cat Holdings, RCAT, a pure-play U.S. military drone manufacturer that just secured major government contracts, partnered with Palantir, and is ramping up productions for an expected $80 to $120 million revenue year, according to their 2025 guidance. This little-known small-cap stock is going full beast mode. Let's break this down. So you got to know that Red Cat is a drone powerhouse focused specifically on military, government, and security applications at a time where drones are front and center in the media. Just today, the press secretary talked about how they're testing drones. And those drones that Biden didn't tell us about, well, those were apparently U.S. tested drones that the FAA approved. So what's the company's goal here? Well, the company's goal is to replace China-made DJI drones with secure, American-made, battlefield-ready UAVs. Their key products are the Black Widow, their newest ISR drone, now integrated with Palantir's AI-powered navigation system. This thing might be a game changer. They have the Teal 2, which is built for nighttime operations, featuring the highest resolution thermal imaging in its class, already deployed in Ukraine and with the U.S. forces. You have the Skycopter, designed for tunnels and GPS-denied environments, meaning perfect for military and intelligence operations. And then you have the Edge 130 Blue, which just landed a $1 million contract from the U.S. Army CECOM. Now remember, folks, these are not your typical commercial drones. These are war machines. And Red Cat is one of the only U.S. companies with full government certifications to sell them. Now, the U.S. government is going to be throwing a ton of money on military drone spending. The Pentagon is on a mission to deploy thousands of autonomous drones to counter China and other geopolitical adversaries. And with China's DJI drones officially banned from military use, well, that means that China's dominant drone maker is out. The American Security Drone Act, the ASDA, will further block Chinese drones from the U.S. market. And so here you have Red Cat. This company is one of the few U.S.-based NDAA-compliant drone manufacturers, and it's ready to fill the void. And guess what? The U.S. Army just selected Red Cat as the winner of its short-range reconnaissance SRR program of record. This is a massive multi-year contract that could put thousands of Red Cat drones in the hands of U.S. troops. Combine that with a Palantir AI partnership, U.S. government backing, and a backlog of orders, and you've got a stock primed for what could be a lot of upside. So overall, RCAT Red Cat is one of the most explosive military drone plays on the market. They've won key contracts, partnered with AI leader Palantir, and are positioned to dominate a multi-billion-dollar defense trend. If you believe in the future of AI-powered military drones, Red Cat is definitely one to take a look at, and it's definitely one to do your due diligence on and come to your own conclusion. Anyways, folks, that caps off today's video. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time.